Good afternoon, everyone. This is Christian with PerfectStockAlert.com, a 100% free service for smart investors and traders. All we ask in return, please refer a friend. Today is May 31st, 2013, and as we do on all Fridays, we'll be going over the 19 major markets that we track for you at PerfectStockAlert.com. Only this time around, I'm going to be looking at the longer-term charts. I've talked about those before and told you guys that we keep them both on the free website at PerfectStockAlert.com, the short-term and the long-term. And the short-term has my sell marks on as well as my stop-loss limits, so forth and so on. So you can check them out on the website whenever you'd like. It's free. But today I want to be showing you something different, and that is going to be that the sell in May signal showed up. Whether you sold it or not, and that's, well, you either did or you didn't, and if you did, you're happy, and if you didn't, you're about to get really sad. The main thing to show you on the Dow Jones Industrial Average is the same thing I'm going to show you on all the charts. This signal right here, this is known as a shooting star. To run up to the top, you get that sell signal. That's the best timing tool you'll ever get in technical analysis for when to sell. It's right there. It's unmistakable. You've seen it before. We talked about it back here when this one was happening, and this one here was happening, and this one here was happening. There's been multiple times that you could have benefited from that scenario. Again, you wait for the right signals. You get the run up to the upside. You get the bearish divergence formation, all these things. But the main thing is the timing tool is just that signal right there. So that's what you should be paying attention to. I know there's a lot of people who have already made money on the call on the sell side here. That's great, but I want to point out here, this is just getting started. You just got the signal here. What you're going to start to see is price activity is going to start to do something different. You're going to see price activity start to expand to the downside. Then people are going to realize, well, wait a minute, maybe my bullish theory is wrong. And it's going to start to have an increased move to the downside. You'll notice the candlesticks are getting larger to the downside. This is typical. You'll be testing this low down here. It's just an easy move. So the 12,500, that's a 3,000 point move here to the downside. And that's massive, in case you're wondering. And again, it's something that you can make a lot of money on. In fact, with these scenarios where you have a really massive move to the upside, really clear signal, bearish divergence, etc., these are opportunities to make a lot of money trading if you have the courage to do it. Looking now at the Australia's market, we showed you this, not this particular chart, but the short-term chart on Australia yesterday, so I'm not going to go into all details, but I want to point out the shooting star was there, and it was, again, the Australia's markets is more advanced than you're seeing with a lot of the other markets. As far as the sell-off process goes, you'll notice the extension, massive move, the massive candlestick formation lower here. Then you get a small one here. Don't trust that. That's not a buy signal or anything like that. You've broken the uptrend line. That means you fall to the next support line. So again, you've got a massive move developing here as well. Looking now at the French CAC 40 index, you can see a very clear signal right there telling you get a shooting star, that you found the top, but looking for a big move to the downside. Again, I want to point out the bearish divergence is already in play, so you have no support here. This is all fake, a fictitious move to the upside, everything closing above that line. So all this gets you raised. You come down here and test this level just to get started with. And if you get below these two moving averages here, your next point of support is going to be down here at the 3,000 level. So you've got a lot of trouble brewing in this market. Looking at the Milan index, the MIB, if you want to look at Italy, then you'd be looking to trade this one. This one's already in a bear market. You can know that because you have the 50-period moving average below the 200-period moving average. That's already locked in the bear market. And point out here, you get this high point, pull back, bounce, and you get a lower high. That's troubling. That means you take out the high point at the lows. The highs have been taken out. That means you're taking out the lows next. You'll be testing lows, and you'll be coming down here and taking out the lows. To do that means you're not going to find support at the 50-period moving average, which means your next area of support way down here. So this, again, a big move to the downside of brewing. Let me clean that up a little bit. All right, in case you missed it, shooting star right there. Looking now at the German DAX composite, this one again has had a great run to the upside. It broke the uptrend line and then bounced up again, forming a bearish divergence, meaning the bounce wasn't real. Once you break the uptrend line, you've got a problem. And the next bounce typically gives you a great sell opportunity. You look for the right signals. Shooting star would be perfect, and that works right there. So again, I'd be looking at this and saying, well, if you got a bearish divergence, you've broken the uptrend line, you're going to be going back and testing the low. That means you're going to be taking this level here. So getting below the 50-period moving average would be really easy here, and then again, testing this would be the one to follow. Again, I want to point out, do not argue against the shooting star. You had a move to the upside here, and people were saying, yes, this is a bullish situation. When you have a shooting star, the chart has just told you sell pressure is stronger than buy pressure at this level. Then you're not going higher. Quick glance here at the gold chart, long-term of course, and we want to point out that again, you have a massive situation here that is broken down. We talked about this back when it happened. You close below this support line, breaking support. It's a very, very poor signal there. It also would be indicative of a bearish market developing. Again, I want to point out that you have rolled over, the 50 period moving average rolling over here and converging on your 200 period moving average would be confirming the bearish market. Also note that you are able to close below the 200 period moving average and then get a sell signal below the 200 period moving average. These are very bearish conditions. Also note the ultimate oscillator. Typically when you're in a bull market consolidation or whatever, you're just going to be bouncing up and hitting that 70 line. That's where you find your resistance points and your sell opportunities. When you come down here and you bounce up and you cannot get to the 70 and you're peaking out at the 60 line, then you're indicating a bear market. That's how the ultimate oscillator indicates a bear market. So again, there's multiple signals here warning you that you have a bear market either in play already in certain markets or forming in other markets. So again, I would not be buying this market. Looking at the Hong Kong Hang Seng Index, again, is shooting star, shooting star, shooting star, shooting star, shooting star, and shooting star, and one here as well. Looking at the situation, you can pretty clear to see what's brewing in the average. You can see the move up here, uptrend line coming along, support, 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 and break through that support, and then you get a bounce, and you fail to take out the previous high. That shows that your sellers are stronger here than they were. You've got lower series of highs, next coming lower series of lows, and then again that puts you below the 50 and the 200 period moving average. Your next line of support will be way down here. So big move. Looking now at the BSE, or the India Bombay Stock Exchange, this one probably looks familiar to you as well as this one here. Okay, these are all signs that you should be looking for a massive move to the downside here. Again, it's pretty obvious in this chart anyway, simply because you had the rollover factor, you broke the uptrend line, so forth and so on. Here was your uptrend line here, and you come up here, you close below that, you test it again, find resistance there, you move over, and then you start to take out the lows, and that's again telling, and then you come up here to higher highs, and then you have conflicting signals. And we warned when that happened, it wasn't a bull market, it was just rolling over. That's all they're doing, is just taking his time about it, but you're just rolling over, and then you get this sell signal again, and not telling you bull market, it's telling you bear market. Looking at the Japan market, the EWJ, the Japan iShares, you can see that we have broken the major uptrend line. That was something we talked about earlier this week. Told you breaking that was going to be a problem, and so that's something that once you've seen that happen, you have to start asking yourself what's going on over there in Europe. And again, it's all about not Europe, I'm sorry, Japan. It's all about the interest rates, and your different people arguing different ways and what's going on. Is the Fed already starting to slow down their process? I mean, Japan shouldn't be, so there's no reason for that. So there's various different reasons to what's going on, and I can't tell you one way or the other. All I can tell you is price is breaking down. And price can only break down if buyers are backing away and sellers are moving forward, and so that should be troubling. Here, I'm not selling at this point in time. If I got some kind of a bounce or something like that, I would, but right now I would look at this as being very troubling. It's just one of the lagging markets, but again, it's got the most amount of money being flown into it from their government. So again, it's something I would be not buying in this scenario, but it's not something I'd be selling just yet. Looking at the FTSE, or the London Financial Times Index, this one is the perfect chart because you had the perfect scenario where you had made a massive move to the upside. All right, we had done that and found some support, and then break below that. That's a problem. Then you come up and you find that you don't have support, but you have resistance, and then you get the shooting star signals. Once the shooting star signals are there, you know what to happen. The next big bearish divergence formation telling you this is not sustainable, and so all of this gets erased. You're coming down here to be tested at this level again. So be looking for that. You have a big move still to come. Get below that line. The next level will be testing this level here. So this is something that has a lot of potential here to the downside. As you've seen on Japan as well as the Nasdaq, not every chart gets a shooting star signal. It doesn't always happen. But here's how I work that. And over here we had the shooting star signals, and we were able to use that. In this case right here, we didn't get the shooting star until the very, very end here. But the way we dealt with that was that there was no way that all other U.S. markets were going to be falling and the Nasdaq standalone, so that can give you a little bit of a heads up. In this particular case here, we don't have a clearly defined shooting star signal here. You could blend it, do various different things, but it's obviously not very clear. So again, I am selling here on the short-term chart. It has a very clear sell signal, but the long-term chart doesn't. And again, I want to point out they don't always show up, so just don't be thinking that you have to have one. You're going to stay long until you get one, because they don't always show up. So again, just note, this is an overextended and bearish divergence, broke the uptrend line, blah, blah, blah. Looking at the XOI oil index, I could easily see an argument be made to the pullback to the support line here. I could see that. But with this chart, it's a little bit more difficult because you have had a breakout here. I wouldn't expect that you're going to have a bear market and then lots of strong demand for oil or anything of that nature. So I don't really see a lot of support for that argument. But again, I find easier charts to sell here than this one. So this is one that you could be selling, but again, there's easier charts to sell out there. Looking now at the UUP, or the US Bullish Dollar Fund, this one again is just, you can find easier charts to sell. In this particular scenario, you've had this uptrend that was broken, then you come down and you tested it, and you come up and test it again, testing the previous high, and you fail, and you're starting to, looks like you're rolling over here. Also getting a bearish divergence formation, high point here, lower high here, high close here, higher close there. That tells you that's not real, it's going to fall apart. So pullback here would make a lot of sense to me. We're already looking at this as a bearish scenario because you have the 50 period moving average red line here down below the 200 period moving average. So again, you're already in bear market in the dollar, but there's just easier charts to be selling. The Russell 2000 Small Cap Index is one of the easier charts that are to be sold out there. We had the uptrend line here broken. Once you break that, you expect to find that trend line to be resistance, and you expect and you hope to find a nice shooting star. Well, you've got that. So, well, all you need now is a nice bearish divergence. Well, you've got that. So, where are we going? Lower. It's pretty clear. Looking now at the SPX, or the S&P 500 Large Cap Index, that's all we needed to see right there, right there, right there, and right there. The silver chart looks a lot like the gold chart. Nothing really new here. We got the break of the uptrend, the support line here. We have a convergence of the 50 and the 200 period before long. The 50 will be crossing below the 200. You get the death cross, and she's going lower. Same signal here. Again, note the fact that you're failing to hit the 70 line, indicating again a bear market. You're getting sell signals down here below the 200 period moving average, and so again, this is something I'll be looking for on the sell side. But again, it's not something there's easier charts to sell. But this one again would be on the sell side. I wouldn't be trying to call a bottom here. I know people are trying to do that because they see the hammer candlestick formations and things like that on a short-term chart. But again, the overall trend is still down, and that's really important. That's more important than the candlestick formation. In this particular scenario, I have no reason to say, well, we've overshot to the downside or anything. You look right here, you can see we still have this low point here. It's lower than you've seen anywhere else, so it confirms that you should be down here. There's no reason to be buying here other than one candlestick tells you to bounce the upside. Every one of those that you would have tried on the short-term chart that you would have tried to use as a hammer reversal signal would have failed for you. So again, I would work with all the conditions together as opposed to just looking at one little signal. I'm pointing out today, sell signals like the shooting stars, things like that, but it's not the only signal you, of course, would use. I just want to make sure that everyone knows that. Looking now at the Toronto Stock Exchange, the TSX, you can clearly see the resistance we have hit repeatedly fails, again, fails, again, fails, maybe a couple times there, and then we fail again. This time getting a lower series of highs, and you're getting the shooting star signals as well, two of them actually. We're looking to take out this low next. Looking now at the VIX, which runs the inverse of the S&P 500. Whenever the S&P 500 is bullish, the VIX will be bearish, and vice versa. In this particular case, you can see that the whole argument for the bullish market that's going to go on till forever is not really being bought by a lot of people. And you know that because the VIX is climbing, which means that there's a lot of smart money out there that's taking options to protect their long positions. They're concerned that we could see a peak here and a pullback. So that's why you're seeing this rise here. It makes perfect sense to us because we were expecting the markets to come rolling down. So you'll see the VIX start to climb up much higher, much faster. Looking now at the Wilshire 4500, the EMW, in this particular case, you know what I know. You can look and clear to see that the uptrend line has failed, is broken down, and we get the following bounce is fake. You can know that also by looking at the bearish divergence. You also be looking at the shooting star signal. All these things tell you to be looking for a test here. That's 100 points to the downside right there. And this doesn't mean that this is going to hold. It just means that's the next line of you'll be testing. So you'll test it. If you fail here, you'll be going lower, and so forth and so on. If you find support there, and so forth and so on, you can use it to the upside. Remember, even in a bull market, whenever you have people that argue against the bearish thesis, and they say, well, it's a bull market. Okay, fine. Then it's a bull market. You still pull back to the 50 period moving average, right? That's normal. That's what typically happens. So you're up. Now where? Down. Okay. For those of you who don't know any better, you can go right here, and you'll know. Actually, go here. The trade section here. You're wondering all the 19 charts, which ones I would sell. Under the swing trade section, I put a video a couple days ago that would show you which one I would sell personally. And then again, looking here, if you go into the nightly market charts, you can look at the short-term charts. I looked at the long-term today. Short-term are here. They've already been updated with sell signals on various different ones, as well as stop-loss limits that have advanced and so forth and so on. So check them out. God bless. Take care. Enjoy your weekend, and let's get ready to make some money. Please take a moment to review our disclaimer. The information provided herein is our opinion only. Under no circumstances do any statements here represent a recommendation to buy or sell securities or make any kind of an investment. You are responsible for your own due diligence. To summarize, we do not provide investment advice, nor do we make any claims or promises that any information here will lead to a profit, loss, or any other result. These videos are for educational purposes only.